Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. Today Mishnah Yomi is starting the 9th parak of Shabbat. We recall from yesterday our limit of the end of the 8th parak. Both Rabbi Meir and Yossi were citing a verse from Yeshayahu, the Navi, about the size of a piece of pottery that is still chashuv. So here in the 9th parak, we're going to have a similar concept to start off with. Amar Rabbi Akiva says, Minayin le'avodas kochavim or avodah zara shemetame b'masa kenida. That if somebody does masa on avodah zara, he becomes tameh like the chair of a nida, of a menstruating woman. Shneamar, because there's a pasuk in Yeshayahu, tizrem kemo dava, throw them out like a dava, like an unclean. Say tamarlo, get out, say to them. In this particular pasuk, the beginning of the pasuk is discussing idols and avodah zara, and the prophet is telling people, cast them out, get out, tell to them. So ma nida metame b'masa, just like a woman creates impurity when she is carried on the item carrying her. If somebody carries her, then he has to wash his clothing, even though he doesn't physically touch the woman. Af avodah zara mitame b'masa. So to idols, if someone's carrying a bag full of idols, even though he's not touching them, it is tuma. The Mishnah bet, minayin, how do you know l'sfina, that a boat, a ship, she'itzahara, that a ship is tahor, is pure, does not accept tuma, is not mekabel tuma, as we say, it doesn't become contaminated. Shneamar, in Mishlei, it says, derech onia belev yam, the way of a boat is the heart of the sea. And the partner says, pshita, the onia belev yam, isn't it obvious that a boat goes in the ocean? Obviously, this is before they had spaceships or starships. So Elel Ashmina, so the partner says, the Sfina Yam. So it must be that Shlomo Melech and Mishlei is teaching us a Sfina is like the Yam. My Yam Tahor, the ocean is always pure and uncontaminatable. Of Sfina Tahara, so too is the boat. Afilu Hishal Cheres, even an earthenware boat, even if you made a boat out of earthenware, which is Mekabel Tumo, and you put something inside of it, it's Tameh. Afilu Tu'una Biyavosha, even if you can carry it on the dry land, and then put it back into the ocean. So if you have a little, like a canoe, you can imagine a canoe where you get to the bank of the river or the ocean, and you pull it out and you carry it over on dry land and stick it in the ocean somewhere else. Now, even if this canoe, you could put stuff in like a kli, and in theory, since it's metaltal malev reikon, you can carry this thing loaded with stuff in it. It should be metamed like a kli, but because it's going in the ocean, belev yam, it's still tahira. Good. Mishnah base continues. Minayin aruga. How do you know about the bed in your garden? Shisha al shisha tefachim. That it's 6 by 6 tefachim. Shezorin betocha. That you can plant in this one 6 by 6 square. Chamisha zeruyinin. 5 different species of plants. This is going to sound very familiar because in Kilayim we cited the same teaching. So the Mishnah explains the layout here is arba'ah. There are 4 seeds, ba'arba ruchot ha'aruga, around the 4 perimeters of the square. Now in Kilayim we said that you can't seed the corners themselves because you need to have a little gap, you need to have a tefach gap. So you can imagine that you have the Kahati has illustrations, the Art Scholar has illustrations. You have like 4 tefachim along the edge of each of the 4 edges, and you're leaving the corners empty. And so those things, since they're perpendicular and not parallel, they don't look like they're the same species. Be'echad emsa, and one plant of a different species in the very middle. Shnamar, the pasuk says in Yeshaya, ki cha'aretz, like the land, totzi tzimcha, brings forth its tzemach, its vegetation, ukiguna, and like the garden, zeru eha, her seeds, tatzmiach, they will burst forth or bud forth. So zar'ah lo namar doesn't say her seed in the singular, el zeru eha, her seeds, plural, meaning the gina, the garden, can have more than one seed in one 6 by 6 garden square. And the Bartner here goes through the pasuk, totzi, that's one species, tzimcha, another species, zeru eha is 2 species, as the Mishnah explained, and tatzmiach, the last tatzmiach, is another one. It's chad. So now you have 5 different species in this one 6x6 square, and the pictures show you the layout. It'd be an interesting project to build such a thing, but you have to make sure your measurements are very precise and very good, and that you're weeding properly so you don't come to kilayim by accident. Our sages said that, explained in kilayim, that this layout, they're not yonics, they don't draw nourishment from one to the other, so there's no kilayim here. But if you add one more species, if you had 6 species here, then it would look like irbuvia. It would look like a whole jumble, and it would look at least like, even if they weren't nursing one from another and mixing underground, then it would look like kilayim. It's fun. There's a big Bartanura here, and then at the end he says, Mesechet Kilayim Pirashti Elchot Aruga Pirateya. He says, over there in Kilayim, I said a lot, Kan Kitzarti. And over here, I kept it very short. So Baruch Hashem, he has a lot of explanation here, but he kept it very short. Yesher Koach, Rabotay, sei gesund.